Uh, so the whole idea behind this is teach you guys how to best put in an OE part in place of a recycle or aftermarket or recycled part after the job has been billed. The first step we're going to do is we come to our auto prize and we reopen the job. I'm pretty much sure everybody knows how to do that. You go to the repair package, you click on the repair RO number, change the repair stage from build to supplement, then to arrived, and then move it right to delivered. You do have to start by opening that repair package. So once again, come to the repair stage, move it to delivered. The next thing we're going to do, we'll click out of that. We're going to go to RO purchasing. And the next thing we're going to do at that point is we're going to return the aftermarket bumper cover in the system, even though it is already billed. So you highlight the product, you click on return. We're going to cancel it. So you green check it. The invoice is going to show up. So our cost was $143.63. We type in the $143.63. We use today or the day that you're doing it as the date. We highlight it and green check it. At that point, that will print off a return slip, which you got to get to your parts expediter. Okay, that's the first step in auto prize is to return the aftermarket part. The next step, we are going to go into our estimate. We're going to create our supplement, which I already have. We're going to create our supplement. We're going to delete the aftermarket bumper cover in this case, and we're going to change it to OE. And we add in for the OE bumper cover. We're going to refinish it. We're still going to do all the processes that we would have done anyways. This one did not have fog lights. In this particular case, there was only a $50 difference between the aftermarket bumper cover and the OEM bumper cover. At that point, you can see here, our total supplement is $56.57. We are then going to EMS this out into our auto prize. And it's the same process that we've always do. And it's telling me, does it want to return the cover? Yes, I do. So now, if we go into my delivered file, we see that, Dave, look at this. This is $675. It's way high. We do need to go make some adjustments because once again, that build aftermarket cover is still in there. We can't take it out, so we need to make some adjustments. First thing we're going to do is come back to our estimate, and we need to figure out the difference between the aftermarket part and the OE part. In this case, it's $53.62. So for now, we type in the difference of 53.62. Excuse me, 53.62. That is the difference between the OE price and the aftermarket price. Once again, if you can, EMS that out. We go back to delivered. And we'll see that, let me find it here. This is Conway. It's still quite a bit off. I then click in because that aftermarket bumper is still in there. I go into my estimate grid right here. And you're going to see that new bumper cover is all the way down at the bottom. We scroll up to the top, we can see that the aftermarket bumper cover is in here because once it's built, we can't remove it. The paint time and the overhaul time is still in my estimate. As you can see, that automatically duplicates that. So I go to my overhaul, I type in 0. My paint time, labor time and paint time, I both drop to 0. I come to my sales tax because it's trying to take out the sales tax for that original bumper. I type that in as 0. I hit my F5. And now I can see that my the supplement I'm going to bill an auto price is the $53.62. I can then, I'm then going to go to my purchasing. I got my new bumper cover, and I'm going to post my bumper cover. This will, when you post it, your bumper cover, I want to have my list price at 0. I'm going to do it just to show everybody. I'm going to just do it to myself. Oop, I'm going to do something here, just as a test. So in purchasing, I'm going to order it. I'm going to receive it. And I'm going to post my invoice. Once again, my cost of that bumper cover is probably $222. I want that to equal my invoice because my parts expediter is going to have to match that up to the invoice that comes in. But I want to keep my list price at the $53.62. Okay, because I don't want that to affect anything in auto price. And at this point, it's asked me, yeah, my percentage is off. That's quite all right. And I do not want to defer anything. I want to defer it. So now, excuse me, I had that on the wrong screen. So once again, when I posted my bumper cover, I put in list price of the $53.62. Let me F5 this. Let me go back here. Switch screens on you guys. So I had the vendor in there. My cost is a $232, but I kept my list price at the $53.62. I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to go into reconciliation. And I can see that my GP and my parts is where it should be. Small markup on that. So return that part there in the reconciliation, posted the new part. Everything is proper on this end. I can see my estimate right here is 353. Oh, excuse me. Then I come back to my original estimate and I put the factory cover back in so I can bill the insurance company. So now I would relock this estimate at the 3643, and I can send that off to the insurance company. I can see here my totals. My supplement total is 5657. I can see here that my supplement total is 5362. It is off by a couple of pennies, and that is due to the sales tax. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. At that point, I would come in my reconciliation. Come into my reconciliation, and I would, nope, hit the wrong button. I would bill that as I'm going to do a estimated bill but I can see here, all I'm billing now in auto price is this 53.62. I'm just gonna X out of here so I don't screw up too much in accounting. So what that does now, instead of having to write off $300, $400, $500, the only thing I'm writing off is the difference between the aftermarket part and the OE part, because that's all I'm billing the insurance company. That's all I want to bill in auto price. Now, when the bill is paid by the insurance company, they're going to send me the $53, and that's basically what we show in auto price, and everything is copacetic, where we only have to write off $1 or $2, which would have been the sales tax on that extra $53. At that point, I bill it, I close it, and I move on. I lock my estimate with the OE bumper in here. Let me, I come back to my estimate, and I'm billing this to the insurance company with the OE bumper in there at the OE bumper price, and there's a very minimal write-off. Does that make sense to anybody, or does anybody have any questions? I know most people are mute, and a couple people may not have microphones. So there is the chat feature. So please, if you have any questions, put it in the chat feature. Obviously, you can call me at any time as well. So does anybody have any questions? Someone respond something? I know you guys are at least listening. Going once, going twice. Can someone respond? Can you hear me? Okay. That is a lot of steps, yes. Okay, Jim asked, he's not familiar with the estimate grid. A lot of people are not, Jim. Let me bring it back up real quick for you. A lot of people are not used to the estimate grid. When you right click, like you're going to your repair package, the estimate grid is a way to look at, another way for Autoprise to look at your estimate. It might be before you kind of jump into this by yourself, something like that. If you're not used to the estimate grid, why don't you reach out to Sherry or myself? We can get you a little more familiar with it as things happen. Once again, it's probably good if you haven't used it much to get together. Looks like Kelly's worked with you a little bit on it to get yourself familiar with it. Yes, it is a couple of, there is a few steps to it. You want to take your time, but once again, it's better than writing off. In this case, it would have been $300 to $500, but in some cases, it could be as much as $1,000, and we do not want that in our allowances and adjustments every month. Does anybody else have any questions? Would people want me to run through this a second time? Or does the concept make sense? What I can do too, I actually have a written step-by-step procedure that I can send out to anybody as necessary. So if you want one of those, once again, you can reach out to me as well. The other topic that, Kelly, you can bill out for the other, George, I'll get you a written copy. Kelly, we can bill out for the aftermarket in some cases we can't. Once again, if it's a poor fit or something like that, we may be able to bill the insurance company some extra labor, some extra paint time. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. If so, you just, if you're billing the insurance company, that would actually be a whole separate line in the estimate. You'd keep the OE cover in there as well as the aftermarket. In other cases, we would get a credit from Keystone for the labor of the part and paint materials by doing a UPD and get something off to Steve. Once again, There is times that we bill out an aftermarket. Sometimes at the end of the month, you bill out the aftermarket. The owner comes 3 days later, it doesn't fit properly. We switch it out to an OE, and we really can't bill the insurance company for both. So this is how you'd rectify the situation. Um, any other questions? I see George wants a written copy of the stats. I definitely will send you off one of those, George, or anybody else that wants one. Send me an email. The other situation that happens a lot during the billing process that people reach out every month on, you're going to bill something in Autoprise, and for some reason, Autoprise will not let a line be billed. It happens probably 2 or 3 times every month at different shops. Sometimes we have either an R&I or replacing a part in the estimate, and some reason Autoprise can't read CCC1 correctly. In those situations, you need to go into your estimate, create a supplement, remove that line, go in there, EMS it over, go back into CCC, manually put in a line. So if it's replaced left, if you went in there, clicked on replacing of the left belt molding, in this case, you'd go inside, insert a line, manually put left belt molding, the price, EMS it over, repost that belt molding, and that should allow you to bill it. That's something that happens. I probably get 4 to 5 phone calls every month on that. It's a pretty easy solution. It is a pain in the butt because sometimes it is more than one line, but usually it is just one line. If you delete that line, EMS it over, manually re-add that line. If it's a part, you need to repost the part and re-EMS it over. Usually that bills out quite easily after that. Does anyone else have any questions or any other situations that you run into at the time of billing that you may need help with or don't understand that we could address at this time? Usually if you run into it, other people run into it as well. Is there any other questions? Going once, going twice? A lot of people reach out to me at month end, a couple days before month end. Me, Sherry Lee are always here to help you guys. So we'll definitely, continue that. My best suggestion to everyone, if you're keeping up with your billing, these do not happen as panic situations at the last minute at 5 o'clock on month end. So the quicker you can do your billing and keep up with your billing, when we do run these situations, they're a lot easier to address a day or 2 or hours before the end of the month versus 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the month. So keeping up on your billing is very important as well. It's been pretty quick. Does anybody have any other questions or any other billing situations they would like brought up at this point in time? We're here for you. Going once, going twice. If not, we can kind of end the session. And, once again, if you do have any individual questions, you can always reach out to me. But other than that, I want to thank everybody for attending. Hopefully it made sense and you guys learned something. If not, if it didn't make sense, or if you still have questions, please reach out. Great. Thank you guys very much for attending.